So yesterday's session, we happened to look into few things, although we had some challenge of connectivity. And we were looking on how we define chart of account. And in defining chart of account, there are several steps which are supposed to be covered. The one is to understand the application that you are defining the chart of account from. There is the accounting key flex field. All these we said we access or we select because they are already in the system. They are seeded. Then we have structure name. This one we define. And segments we also define. Then after defining segments, we go ahead and assign flex field qualifier to segments. And once that is done, we define value sets. So I think we were in the level of stage of value set designing. By the time we got some connectivity challenges. And yeah, we can pick up from now where we left yesterday. I hope, I don't think I shared the last recording on time. I think I've just shared it some few minutes ago. But all in all, I believe you'll have time to check and catch up. So in today's lessons, we were talking about value sets, and we said value sets, they help us to provide some control of the value that we define. So in this case, there are some attributes which we usually provide when we are defining the value sets. And these value sets, after defining them, we go ahead and assign them to segments. So it is in this, status of understanding the attributes that we usually associate with the segment values. So we can pick up from there. So, and one of the attributes was the character size, and I was explaining through this kind of, data that you can have a way you can control the character size. So each and every segment, you create its value sets, and the attributes that you will set on that value set is what will be applied. So for instance, if you say under company, you will have only 2 characters when it comes to value set to segment values for that segment, you can provide only the size of 2. The same case goes to cost centers and any other segment value set. So in this case, I will go to the system. You'll be able to see how to do all this. So our user is that user. Password is welcome. So we navigate to value set page, and the navigation is not different. It's just the same as if we are heading to segments, or rather creation or defining of segments. So here we are supposed to navigate from the application general ledger, super user, setup, financials, flex fields, key, segments. Okay. So with this, the system will open flex field window. Here we query, just like we agreed last time. Application name. You don't have to type everything. This is general ledger, and the title is accounting flex field. Once you select that, the system will open all the structure name or organization structure name that has been defined before. And once this one has been curated, you can select anywhere within the structure code and you click on find. Here now you can type the specific name of your structure name. Once this one is open or it's queried, you come and click on segments. And these are the segments that we defined. That is company, cost center, accounts, projects, feature 1 and feature 2. So you are supposed to go to value sets. So under value set, here you're supposed to define each and every segment its value set. Okay, you can define each and every segment value set, and particularly we can assign the ones that we have, or we have some information, some fields that we'll be using them. In that case, I mean, we don't have to define for feature 1 and feature 2 as per now. So we agreed that we have to provide the value set name, which we name as per the name of the segment. So in our case, the first segment, our value set name will be the name of the segment, which is company. Okay. You can provide the description. This is company. You can provide give a meaningful description. Company value set. List of values. This one you don't have to change. Security, we're not using any security for now, but in future we can learn how to use this security feature. So what I was talking about is the size, maximum size of the character under format validation. So this is the format of how we will define these, or how will the segment values will look like. So in this case, this is what I was saying, you have to agree with your client on how this value set will be provided with the correct information. So in case of company, you find most of the time usually use just only 2 characters. It can be 01, it can be 10, it can be 11, but mostly you find company is 01. If you have more than one company, you'll get 01, 02, 03, 04, and so on. Okay. But in our case here, because it's only one company, we come and provide 2 characters. Okay. And if these characters you want them to have numbers only, like when you're defining the segment value to have only numbers only, you can come and check this checkbox. If you want to uppercase only, that is, when value sets are being created, it has to be created with uppercase. You will provide this checkbox. If you want write justify and 0 fill numbers, write justify is, for example, if we have said that the maximum size is 2, and you come and write, for instance, 1, okay, the system will go ahead and write justify with 0, 1 to add the second character. If, for instance, we have said the maximum size is 4, okay, and you come and write, for instance, you write 3 or 5, okay, the system will go ahead and write justify, add another 0 to 3 or 5 to justify and make it 4 character. So that's the work of this function here, or this checkbox, right? Justify and 0 fill numbers. Okay. So once this is selected, it will always be able to auto justify or write justify and 0 fill with numbers. So in our case, for company, we provide 2, then and come and say like justify. Okay. When you have write justified, you may provide minimum value and maximum value. What does that mean? What it means is that, for instance, if you have provided the minimum value here is 300, okay, and it's longer than the character, so let's say it's 30. That is minimum, and the maximum is 99. Okay, is there anyone with a question? Okay, maybe someone has unmuted. Thank you for muting. So the point is, if you like justify and you want to correct, to provide some control, you'll find like you can say the minimum value of the segment values that you create. There should be no a value which is less than 30 that can be defined, or a value which is more than 99 that can be defined. So the moment you come to create a value which, for instance, we have provided in that field like minimum is 30 or 30, and maximum is 99. Okay. So if you happen, what it means is that you are supposed to define value or segment values which are only in between 30 and 99. If you happen to go and create something like 29, the system will throw you an error. Okay. If you happen to go and create something which is more than 99, like 100, the system again will throw you an error. So basically, the idea of value set is to control the kind of segment values you will be defining. You can remove this because this is not mandatory. Okay, you don't need that control, but it's something that if you save, you can always come and change. Okay, you can always come and change. So for validation type, you don't change anything, you just leave it as independent. Once this one is done, you can go ahead and save your work. So the moment you save your work, only the format type is grayed out, meaning you cannot change this. And also the validation type, you cannot change this. But things to do with minimum value and maximum value, you can always come back and adjust or amend. So that is for value, company value set. The same case we can do for, we want a new one, we need the cost center. Cost So description will be cost center value set. Centers we will find for the good look of the combination, we usually provide cost center to have at least 3 characters. So we'll give it 3. Come and write justify. These others you can always mix if you wish, and you can as well see it's something that you can come anytime and adjust. Okay. For instance, you might find there is a client who doesn't want to have alphanumeric values created as an account, and you'll find there is another client who will want to have accounts which can be defined in alphanumeric. So if you meet the one who doesn't want to use alphanumeric, you can come here and say numbers only. Okay. So that is that. So there's nothing else we're providing. I've explained in details unless there's anyone with question. So I'll go ahead and create this value set and finish up. So the third one is accounts. Okay. Accounts. Value. Then for the account, you can go and create even 5. This is what I was explaining here down. You can create a bigger code. You can provide a bigger code in terms of the character that are available or you have accepted in the character maximum size. So again, we write justify and we save. So I think we had created 4 accounts. So it's just account. You can, I think, for the purpose of differentiating from, there are so many accounts which has been defined here in the system, and also there are so many cost centers and companies. We can add the initials of our company, that are the one that we are implementing with, so that we can have easy time when identifying them. But when you are implementing for a client, you don't have to specify, because no any other data that will come to be built on top of that. So that is that. Then we have you might find we track in the level of value set up to the level of probably the accounts, but we can also maintain for for projects. Sorry. Okay. Then we say it's start projects value set. For this one, just a minute. So we find the size of the character is, can provide 4 or even 3. Okay. And then you write justify. Okay, and save. Okay. Then we have future 1 and future 2. Add future. set. This one you can provide a maximum of 3 maybe. Right, justify. And you don't even need, because it will default it to 0. Then you save. Then you have tab feature 2. Set. Okay. 3. Justify. This one we are not providing any character, so that's why I'm reluctant to provide more details. So you go ahead and save. So we have created value sets for our segment, and the next thing we are supposed to do, this is up to this level we have defined. Okay, that one is done. So we are supposed to assign value sets to segments. So for these segments, to have those characters, the one that we have just created, we should go ahead and assign them under this field. So we are creating from this tab. Now we are assigning to our value segments on this level. So we come and you can just type the name, and you can be able to see all the value sets that we have defined. So make sure that you define each and every value set as per the value set for each and every segment. So don't assign account to company or company to account, and so on and so forth. So I select that company, then I go ahead and select third account, not account but cost center. Third cost center. Then I select third account. Then I select third project. Then I select third feature 1. Feature. So once this is done, you can go ahead and save. Every time you save, the system will be giving you some message here of whether there is something it has saved or not. So that one is done. So we have assigned value sets to segments, and now we need to define segment values. Okay, I hope no one is lost. How do we assign segment values? Anyone? How do we assign segment values?
Hi, Sasmas.
Yes.
Do you create the values under the value set?
Sorry?
Okay. I think you create or define the values under the value set.
Is my question.
So the question is how you do it.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear, whether you got my question right.
I'm not sure.
Anyone else? No one else who has gotten my question right. So no one else has gotten my question right. And because I've not thought about what I had asked, I will not even repeat that question. But well, I was asking, how do we assign segment values to segments? Okay. But there's nowhere we assign segment values to segments. There's nothing like that. Unfortunately, no one got it. Anyway, let's go ahead. Is there anyone with a question? Any question? I hope you are following very well, because if you get to float on this level, the more we go deeper, the more you'll get lost. So don't stay quiet, or you even don't go through the video recording that we are sharing and end up coming to this session, and you end up floating. It will make your life more complicated. The more you become systematic in following how we are doing things, how we are learning, the more you'll become resourceful, the more you'll become, it will be easier for you to connect all these dots, because it's a systematic way of, we are discussing. I don't want it to be just like I'm just telling you. I want to hear you asking questions. Think outside the box, and make sure that whatever you'll be asking, it will help you to have a deeper understanding of what we are doing. So we have defined segment value. It's a journey of defining chart of account. And all this has to be done. Okay? All this has to be done. And the final bit is to define the segment value and assign segment qualifiers to segment values. Who can remember? Let me ask a question, because you are not asking. Who can remember the segment qualifiers? How many are they, and what are they? Segment qualifiers. We talked about two types of, or two categories of qualifiers. What is category one?
We are the first one being flex field qualifiers, and the other one is segment qualifiers.
How many flex field qualifiers do we have?
Flex field is 6, While segment is 5.
What are they? The 5 segment qualifiers.
For segment was allow posting, allow budgeting, then what's the account type associated to it? If it is a third-party control account, or it's reconcilable.
Yeah, you need to note these things the way they are. Okay. So these are the 5 segment qualifiers, and we see them when we are defining segment values here. Once we define the segment values, that's when we go ahead and we assign segment qualifiers. This one we don't create, we just assign or select. Okay, these ones are in the system, just like the way we have the flex field qualifiers. These ones.
Yep.
Give them a different color here. Same way we have flex field qualifiers. We don't define, we select. Okay, select stroke assign. So the same case we have segment qualifiers, and the number of them, there are 5. These are 6, and we have been able to see them when we were defining the segments in our or under our organization structure name. The 6 are here, flex field qualifiers. These are the 6. Okay. I know I'm repeating this because I know there are some of you who have probably not gone through the videos or the recording. So once this is done, is there anyone with a question? We are done with defining the segment and value sets and assigning value sets to segments. Now we want to define the segment values, and segment values will be under segments. It's nothing else than what we are discussing some other days here. Where are they? No, it's not in this recording. It's not in this recording. Let me see whether it's here. It's not in this as well. These ones, I'm talking about this area. This is what we are going to define now. These are the segments values. Okay, we have defined the segments in this level through or under organization name that we have also defined, through the accounting key flex field, which we access it through the GL application. Okay, so it is important for you to remember this. So the navigation is the same, the responsibility is the same for segment values. Segment values. Okay. The segment values. But now, when we come to go to values, we don't go to segments. I hope you are noting this down. It's very, very important for your reference. Setup, financials, flex field, key, values. So here, there is some information we'll provide. The navigation is set up. Already we are in the general ledger application. Financials, flex fields, key, values. We don't go to segments. We have already defined segments. Now we define values. So once we have been able to define or to open the key flex field segment window, there's some information that has been defaulted. For instance, if you see here, we have the key flex field. Because just like we have been saying, we are using the key flex field. Where is that? Right, the one that I was showing here, or rather, the one that we have here, this key flex field. This feature is the same as the one that we have used under segments. This is the same feature that we are referring to. But now here you see it's opening in a different kind of interface when it comes to defining value sets. But the same feature is the one that we have been talking about. So the system is defaulting the selection of key flex field in preparation for you to go ahead and probably query the existing values, segment values, or you can even define new one. So in our case, we don't have value sets existing. So we are defining them. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to provide the sum of information that we already know, and we will be using it for the purpose of defining the segment values. So the first field, we have the application. Can someone tell me which application are we going to define these value sets in? Yeah, please go ahead. Give me an answer. Even if you feel like it's not the correct one. Which application do we define these values? Segment values.
General ledger.
Yeah, this is general ledger. We have said it. It's here. Maybe I'm referring to it as responsibility. Yeah, we have the responsibility as general ledger. But when it comes to also application, I've mentioned it here several. So we access the key flex field through general ledger application. That's how we access this feature. So you should always remember, this is key flex field. So where else? The general ledger application. And the title, Who can remember the title? Anyone, please? Title is accounting key flex field. Accounting flex field. This one we has also used when we are opening or when we are querying the organization structure name. So I don't know why you are quiet, and yet we have been able to look at it. Then we have structure. Who can remember the structure? The same we have defined a segment, or rather segments, under application is general ledger, accounting key flex field, organization structure, the one we defined. Okay, same information we are supposed to provide here, in short. So here I think we provided, I don't know whether we gave the initials of that. Yeah, we called it that accounting flex. This is the organization name that we give our organization. So this information already we have interacted with it. It's the same information we are using in the side of defining the segments. Here down we have segment. So what happens is you can have, for instance, you can have, what do we call it? You can have a systematic way of querying one by one by coming back to this page. For instance, we can provide information like for the first segment. For the first segment, we have company. Okay. If I tab like that, the company segment field will the segment field will be auto-populated with company name. Then if I come here and click on find, the system will open a window for segment values. This is what we want to define. The system will open a window for segment values, and under here, we are supposed now to come and define. If, for instance, we had more segments under company segments, like the ones we have here, we can take even a few of these, like post it here. We have marketing, this is company. Okay. Or even let me just copy this, the whole of it the way it is. Though we may change the code. Okay. We may change the code because based on how we have defined our segments values, our value sets, there will be some restriction on the kind of code or the values that we provide under this segment values fields. So in our case, we have defined company, we have defined cost center, we have defined account, and we have defined project and future one and future two. Okay. You know what I understand by F1 and F2. So with this, we can go ahead and define our values. So this is where we call the field for values, segment values. So the code that you usually see, for instance, the one that we have provided here, 0001, is what you're supposed to come and provide it here. Okay. But there is something I want you to understand. Instead of coming with just only one segment here, and you cannot select any other. Remember, we created several segments. That is company, cost center, accounts, projects, future 1 and future 2. Those are 6 segments. So what you usually do, if you come here on this window of querying the segments, we don't provide this field. Okay, we query without this field and we click on find. So what happens is that once you are here, you don't need to go back to this and query the second segment, which is the accounts or department or projects or whatever. Under the segment values window, you can just use the down arrow key and you change the segment the way you want. Okay, you can play it to the segment that you want. That is the down arrow key on your keyboard. So that's a shortcut I'm trying to give you. So in our case, we can start with company segment values, whereby we can define our segment values for company. And the first one is marketing. So remember, when we are defining our value sets, we provided some character size in terms of maximum. So if we happened, who can remember the size we gave for company? Is there anyone who can remember the size we gave for company? When defining value sets, or maybe you had not joined, but we provided the size of 2. We provided the size of 2. I don't know whether I've noted it anywhere. So when we were creating the value sets, this one, for company segment, we provided a character of 2 Here we have provided a code which has 4 characters. Again, we said it light justify, light fill with zeros, light justify with zeros. So if we happen to provide, like for instance, 1, the system will go ahead and add another 0 on top of or in front of the 0, in front of 1. That is what we are calling to light justify with zeros on the right. So what happens here, I don't expect the system to accept my 4 code values, that is 0001. Let's see what the system will tell us. See what the system is telling us. It's throwing an error saying the value 0001 is longer than its maximum length of 2 characters because we defined a value set of 2 characters. So what does that tell you? You're supposed to provide maybe 0, 1 and tab. Once you tab, the system has accepted, and the same value you have provided here has copied it to translated value. Then you're supposed to give the description. Description is nothing than this name. For instance, now it's 001 is marketing. You can come and paste it there, or you can just type. Something else I wanted us to see is when you are defining the character, we have said like it will like justify or fill with zeros. So if I happen to say we are defining the second value, what it means is that if I provide just one character and tab, the system is adding 0 in front of 2 for it to become 2 character, and also maintain that setup that we created on various sets, that it has to justify with zeros or fill with zeros to make the character 2. If it was a maximum of 3 characters and I have provided 2, it could have added 2 zeros. Okay. So our second company is software. Okay. Then our third company is insurance. These are now segment values that we are defining. Our fourth one is car selling or motor vehicle selling. Call it selling. Don't find it. When we work with just consultancy, it's just for the purpose of practice anyway. So once you have provided this, you can go ahead and save your work. And once you save, the system will gray out the value column so that no one can come and change or amend this information. So you'll go ahead and click on save. And once you save, this information have been created in the database and there's no way you can do to change it the way it is. It will remain like this forever. Okay. So the only thing that maybe you can amend is the description. And then it may lose value if you happen to name it something different that will contradict with the data that has already been stored under these segment values. So that's under company. Okay. So here you just go select the title and press on your down arrow key. You go to the second segment, and here you're supposed to provide the values again. So under cost centers, we can work with a number of them. We can start with sales. Okay. And maybe provide 2. Maybe you will say 1. See what I was saying, if you just provide just 1, the system is auto-filling the others with the number of the maximum character is supposed to have with zeros. And that is sales. Then you have inventory. Then we have finance. Finance, we can say it's 3. Then we have policy. Call it what? Let's go to legal. It makes more sense. It's 4. Then we say production, maybe be our last one. Then you go ahead and save. So you have defined the segment values for cost centers. And you can have as many as you wish. There's no limit on these lines. You can have thousands of them. Unfortunately, that one is unrealistic in terms of real world. We don't have so many departments. Although you might find there are companies which are big and have so large departments that has to be tracked down. So that is cost centers. You go and place now your down arrow key on your keyboard. You go to accounts. Account segments. Here, there is some additional work we'll do apart from what we have done to the others. And that's where you'll see some of the features that we've been talking about. So under accounts, you can have cash account. We provided it with how many characters? I don't know whether it's 5. Let's see, if I press 1 or provide it with 1, it will autofill with how many? 4 zeros. Then the maximum character is it's 5. But we can try to make it more appealing. You can say 101, 200. Okay. Oh, this one I've provided more. 200, I mean 20. Call it the cash account. Okay. Then under accounts, this is where we go ahead and now we use the segment qualifiers. So what we do, we come here, we select this tab for values, hierarchy, and qualifiers. And this far end, this is where we say what type of account is this. Okay. In this case, we have 5 natural type of accounts. So basically, most what we change here is just the account type for this level. And cash is what? Is it an asset, expense, liability, ownership, or revenue? What type of account is cash?
An asset.
Good, cash is an asset. So we select the account type there as asset and go ahead and say okay. Say okay again. Then the system will take you to the next field. You can continue defining other accounts. So rent charges, or we can call it rental income. 101, 21. Okay. Call it rent income. What type of account is this? What type of account is it? As a financial consultant, you have to know these things. You're not only just a system consultant, but a financial system consultant. So rental income, what is it? What type of account is it?
Revenue.
Yeah, this is revenue. Okay. So you can define thousands of accounts based on the needs. Employee training, of course, is one will be. will be an expense. This one is okay. The one is traveling. 2, 3. And something else you can do here, you can group these accounts on ranges. Ranges is like from for instance, from 10,121 to 10,129, you can give them same type of accounts. Like all those, you can say probably those are your revenue accounts. Then you can have 10,130 to 139 to be expense account. You can have such kind of grouping for easier tracking, and also for a well organized account or chart of accounts, sorry. So this is how we define the segment values, and this is where you see the segment qualifiers. These are the segment qualifiers, the 5 of them. Okay, allow budgeting, allow posting, account type, third party control account, reconcile. Okay, so you can define thousand of accounts. 124. Okay, and so it's office team. Then we have 10 and 50 is expense. Can have 10, 1, 25. Okay, this one we can have unapplied receipts. What type of account is unapplied receipts? Liability. Then we have 101, 27. Here we can have account that is very, very important. You'll come to see it later. Retained earnings. What type of an account is retained earnings? Retained earnings is ownership or stock. It's equity. can have as many as you can the need of the business can request. So in this case, we can work with that one. And I want to go ahead and save. So I've saved, and the system have compiled there. I've grayed out the value column, so we cannot change anything. Okay. So we have our accounts, cost centers, and company. And we can go ahead and define for projects as we wish. But for the purpose of learning, we can be able to go ahead and learn with company, cost centers, and the accounts. We don't need to go ahead and define these ones, but this one we can as well define as the demand calls. For instance, you might find you don't have projects throughout. So the moment you have a project, a certain project, and you need to track it, that's when probably you can come here and define one. Any question?
I think mine is just a quick one. Well, define the others like the company, you are using the first tab that says values and effective. Well, when you treat to accounts, you switch to the next tab for values, hierarchy, and qualifiers. So does it do that automatic, or you need to switch to that when dealing with an account segment?
You'll have to switch. It's not automatic. You'll have to switch from value effective to values, hierarchy, and qualifiers. You see, this one I was to explain later. When you are under values effective, you're only providing the values, that is the segment values, and the effective dates of when it is started to be active. If it's a must or if it's needed, you might find sometimes we don't provide it because it doesn't, the moment you define it here, that's all. You cannot change anything. But you can come here and give it some starting date and end date, that is from 2. That's why they are calling it values versus effective. This effective is for the period starting, the period ending. You may need to stop using some certain values, and that's why you have a certain end date. So if you happen to provide end date here, that value will no longer accept to be used in transactions. In the other tab, you have values, hierarchy, and qualifiers. So we have values, and here you provide the value code and you give a description. Then when it comes to hierarchy, you can be able to have a parent account and be able to define child accounts. That one is for another class. For today, we are just learning about how to define values, segment values. So the reason why we have, I'm giving the reason why we have this tab. It's because we have values here, we have hierarchy. You can be able to have as many parent and as many children as you want. And after that, you can go ahead now have the qualifiers. So you have to tab, you have to do it manually. I hope your question is answered.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? So that's how we define the company, the segment and segment values. So this one is done. Segment values also is done. Assigning segment qualifier to segment values. Also this one is done. So in short, we have our chart of accounts. And now the moment we close this field or this window, system submit this chart of account for compilation. So there is the backend system that will go and compile it and make it complete. So you say okay, and if you go to view request, find, this is where you go and check the programs that the system triggers. Unfortunately, this program, they have been learning very slow. So it needs to be checked by the database administrator, or maybe one of our technical team, so that we can be able to tell why the managers are this slow. So, but ideally, this is where the compilation will, the program that, each and every program that the system triggers for the purpose of executing a certain functionality, you can be able to view it from this request window. We call them concurrent managers. Okay, so the navigation is view, request, then find. It will open and show you which are running or already have been run, and you can as well submit a program from this window, but that one is for later date. Okay, so I can see the value set are being compiled, but the system is a bit slow. We'll check for it tomorrow so that we can make it a bit more faster. But ideally for now, this is what we should understand. Like, we should be able to go up to this level. And normally, if it completes, if you have defined everything well, it will complete normal. It will give you a face name here, complete, and status normal. If there is some challenges, it may give you a warning message, or it give you a serious error with red color. It changes to red, and it means that's a serious error that you should take care of and be able to investigate with it. Any question? So we are done with the chart of accounts. Yeah. So the next thing probably we can be able to check, which doesn't have much effort, is how to enable the currency. Okay. And we said that the currency we don't create. We don't create currency. Currency we enable. So responsibility is general ledger, navigation is set up. Set up financials. You can close this and continue with your other business, but you can always come back and check. So enabling currency is set up. I don't go to financials, currencies. Currencies define. So navigation here is set up currencies. Currencies define. So here, based on the currency that you want or you are implementing or you want to work with, you are supposed to come here and query for that currency. The system has all the currencies in the world. So you click on the find icon here or tab, and the system has all the currencies that are in the world. You search, for instance, for KES. Okay, this Kenya shilling. Once you have auto-populate the fields with the currency you want to work with, you're supposed to scroll on your right up to this checkbox. So you'll find this checkbox is not checked. Let's look for one that probably is not being used. Maybe Zimbabwean currency. What's the symbol? Yeah, the Zimbabwe dollar. Okay, and when you see the system has an into bracket obsolete, it means that that feature is no longer being used. You will find this one in even in other areas, not only in the currencies. You'll find it in even other, you might find it's a program that you are going to run and it's written into bracket obsolete. So it means it's no longer in use and you should not use it. So in this case, you have Zimbabwe dollar, and you can see Zimbabwe dollar is not enabled. Okay, so when you're doing implementation, you will be finding the currency is not enabled. Let's see the US dollar. United. Yes. So US dollar, you might find it's enabled. Yeah, this one is enabled because we are using a database that has so many people who are working with it. So you'll find it's not a fresh. You will not get fresh data here or fresh operations. So if it's enabled, you don't need to go ahead and enable, and just leave it and progress with other things. But ideally, this is how we enable the currency. You might find the user tells you, oh, I'm trying to book maybe a transaction with this currency, and I'm not able to select maybe Ugandan shilling I'm not able to select, the pound. You're supposed to come and first of all check whether it is enabled here. Once you check here, you'll be able to tell whether it's enabled. If you find it's enabled and still the user cannot be able to select the currency code, now that you can elevate your investigation and see where could it be originating the issue. So ideally, that's how we enable the currency. It's as simple as that. Any question? So if there's no any question, I want to go up to that level. We shall pick up tomorrow from something I want us to discuss about creation of primary ledger. And under primary ledger, before we get to primary ledger, we'll discuss something about accounting setup manager. Okay, we'll discuss about the accounting setup manager, because in the accounting setup manager, that's where we will be able to access the functionality of defining our primary ledger. Any question? So if there is no question, let's meet tomorrow and we pick up from where we have reached. So bye bye and have a good night.